Hey guys, Bryce here. Today I want to talk about how a mentorship student got a new client last week who was set to pay her $19,000 over the next 12 months. She even got paid $7,000 up front. So this is going to be a really interesting video. I'm going to cover a couple different principles that you use, some different things. We've kind of been really focused on really small change for a lot of the new mentorship students. For example, one of our students named Jake, he just joined the program last Friday, and then immediately he got a CFO client for I think between like $2,000 to $3,000 per month. I can't remember, it was somewhere inside that range. And today he just sold a tax plan for $5,000 that he would have given away in the past for free. So we're gonna just kind of talk about some different principles that allow you to be able to do this. In this particular case, the student got a lead basically from one of our marketing methods, and inside of the marketing method, it made it very easy for a person to come on the call and then just have to be able to do the pricing. Now, in this particular case, and even before we get started, if you're watching this thing live, comment hashtag team live, and I'm going to make it a little more interactive. Like I might slow some certain things down. I might talk a little bit more to you and maybe answer some questions that you might have. Or what is it called? If you're watching the replay, write hashtag team replay. I'm going to give you a special gift if I see that you commented on the replay because I really like you being able to boost it. Now, why am I asking you to comment? It's because it allows the video to be shown to more people. Generally, the algorithm works based on engagement, and comments and likes are engagement. So the more people that like it and engage with, the more people it's going to send it out to. And I'm not charging you for this video, so as a way to say like, hey, thank you, and like a fair value exchange, if you could comment, it really helps everybody out. Cool. Also, if you want some help growing your business, maybe you've been like trying to grow it for a number of months or even years, and maybe it's just not growing to the speed of what you would like, go ahead and click on the link inside the description, either above or below the video, to book a call with myself. Maybe you've been like thinking about starting, but it's just not quite going the way you want as well, or you just overwhelmed, just don't really know what to do. Also, click the link and go ahead and book a call. So, number one, most people watching this video, if you have set prices, can generally 2 to 4x your existing prices. Most people are just underpriced, right? And it doesn't come in some cases because you just don't know what to charge, but in other cases it comes from like maybe looking at what other people are charging on their websites, or even it could be you charge based on how difficult it is for you. Okay. I generally do not like doing that. I like to price based on like what is the work, like how much time is going to take me, what's the complexity level of work, and what is my labor costing to be attached to it. For example, I have like staff accountants that work underneath me that are doing the work. So I need to know like how much time it's going to take. That's how much time I'm going to have to like pay to my contractors. So that's number one. Okay. So most people could again get 3x their price. Now, what is the biggest indicator of and what is the biggest leader of how much you can charge? It's going to be the niche with which you're going. Now, I'm not saying to choose like one niche and only work with this one niche forever. I'm not necessarily saying that. Like, what I always encourage is choosing like 3 to 4 niches that you have some sort of affinity toward that also have the capacity to be able to pay. So, for example, if you're going to be doing high ticket monthly bookkeeping, I recommend that you maybe go away from independent contractors unless you have a mix of other services where at the end of the year that person could have paid you $10,000 over the course of the year. That's the only exception to that rule. So maybe, for example, they're going to do like, we'll say $500 a month for monthly bookkeeping service. That's $6,000 per year. And then you sell them like a $5,000 tax plan, that's $11,000. Okay, that's the one exception. So if you're working like real estate agents, barbers, we'll say like real estate investors that are kind of like small. That's the one exception I would go. Like you have to make sure that at least $10,000 per year in order for it to be like to be meaningful, right? Because like at the max that I like doing is about 10 clients per 6 figure that you're going to be getting, right? So there's going to be $100,000 per year. You want to have about 10, maybe maximum like 11 clients if that's what you're going for. But if you want to have like less to still reach that same 6 figure level, then you got to go after industries that can afford to pay you more. Oftentimes you're looking for industries that have like contracts underneath them, or they might have multiple independent contractors underneath them. So for example, rather than go after like a real estate agent, I would go after the real estate brokerage, right? Because there's multiple agents below them. You can actually get a little you get not only the agency above them and you get all the work that goes there, but you can also have the independent contractors come to you to do their work as well. So even though the independent contractors themselves are very, very small, the total of them, in addition to how much the agency is paying you, is actually very, very large. So you can make a really good amount of money off of one agency. In this particular case, the student actually that we're talking about got her client from a real estate brokerage, like just a miniature brokerage. The person was doing, I think, anywhere between like 1 million to like $5 million per year for the brokerage, and they only had about like I think it was like 10 months worth of transactions that were kind of backed up because the business owner he kind of likes doing a little bit, but he kind of doesn't, and was just procrastinating this year, so he just didn't really want to do it. It was just getting close to the end of the year, so you say, I still don't really want to do it, right? But you have to go after the right size clients. Like you don't want to be their highest paid person at their company. The reason why you don't like solopreneurs is because most times solopreneurs are trying to like pinch pennies, and like they just broke 200K. They're trying to keep all that $200,000 so they can go live their life, right? So maybe they might have like an admin who they undercharge. Maybe they might try and bring on as a bookkeeper, but again, they're usually the ones that are going to be like paying like $100 to $150 per month. That's not the guys you want. You want when you come in there, you can see the team, you can see the staff. They're spending money. They're making money. They're in a high growth industry where they can get a cash infusion, like nonprofit. I like therapy. I like real estate investors. I like startups. I like construction. Um, those are some really easy industries. Solar is a good industry where they're selling really high ticket items, right? And they're selling a high volume of high ticket items. Roofers, those are generally pretty good. The trades, they're very good. The trades can be a little bit tough if you don't really understand how to handle their personalities or speak their language, because they can be a little bit tough, like tougher, like personality wise, like they're really tough and they're like kind of hardy. So you have to just really understand those. But those industries are generally pretty easy to start getting like clients that can afford to pay those high price points. Now, cannabis is another one. It can be kind of hit or miss depending on like what the situation the business owner is. E-commerce can be a little bit higher paying because the stakes are a lot higher for them if they don't understand like their numbers or their financials. So a lot of different industries you can choose, but I'm always looking for, are there other people who are already working there either as an employee or as a contractor, because that means the business can support them. Next thing is going to be sales. Okay, so when we talk about sales, you need to really be able to charge high price, but in order to do that, there's a couple different things you need to have. Number one is you need to have confidence in yourself. Oh, sorry, I got a call from someone. That was a client. Number one, you have to be really comfortable with pressure and be comfortable with like sitting in there and just talking to people, right? Because oftentimes, like the bigger, the more successful business owner, the more sure of themselves they're going to be. So if you're not very sure of yourself, it's very hard to get someone to believe in you. Now, when I say sure of yourself, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to like say like you're something you're not. It's just with the skills that you have, just own the skills that you have. If you don't have a lot of skills, I would recommend getting into like a mentorship program that teaches you skills like ours, because then you're not just faking your confidence, you actually are confident because you are competent and you know what you're talking about. Right. Number two, just practice. If you have a script, if you have like some certain things that you say, I would recommend just practicing that stuff before you get on the call. Okay, it's all about being practiced, being competent, knowing what you're going to say, knowing what questions you're going to ask, knowing what kind of pool of questions you're going to ask, knowing like how to handle different situations, really being in control of like what happens if they ask you a question you don't know how to handle. Like, do you kind of have a poker face, right? Really understanding these different processes. Now, when it comes to actually getting closing, right, and getting clients, there are actually 4 stages of objection handling. I'm not going to go into the presentation, like what to say to present your service to make it very relevant to them. I'm assuming that if you watch any of our other videos, we go like really deeply into like how to structure a consultation call, then you really understand that. If you don't know that, we do have like mini courses that are all about that. Like I have a mini course that's about sales. It basically breaks down how to build your script, how to practice your script, how to make sure that you can objection handle, how to make sure that you can close a deal. I'm actually putting that on a Black Friday pricing special for $97 if you want that. Usually it sells for about $597 if you get like one of our websites, and put on sale for like $97. If you want me to send you that, a link to go and purchase that, go ahead and write down sales inside the chat. I'm going to give it to you. Write down sales. Okay, cool. I could not see the chat before. So I actually, I'm gonna recognize some of you guys. So I see Derek is live with us now. Good to see you, Derek. It's been about a year since the last time we spoke, man. Looking forward to, if you want, man, if you want to go and get some more money, we should probably work together sooner or later. Like I told some people, I'm gonna be here for years. But the sooner you want to get 6 figures, I'm like right here for you. I see Tim Lawson. He said, "Good afternoon, Tim. I just accepted your friend request today, Tim. I just saw you joined our Facebook group, so welcome to our lives. Look forward to meeting you." See Richie Phillips, CPA said Team Live. So nice. We have some pretty good got some good people on the live today. Cool. I see someone typed in sales, so I'm gonna go and send you that link to that. Um, Probably tag you inside that. I wasn't prepared to actually share that link today, so I'm actually going to share it with you. I'll send you a link to that afterwards. Cool. Sales, sales, sales. Yeah, because that's the biggest thing. Like there are four stages of objection handling after you drop your price. Okay, so price in itself, like if you're gonna say a price that's a little bit higher than what you're planning on saying or than what you're used to, before the call starts, say your price 3 or 4 times before the person gets on the call, before you accept them into the Zoom room. Now, that's assuming you know what to price out. I assume that you like have a pricing calculator. If you don't have a pricing calculator, join a program that has one. I'm always partial to mine because like we spend a lot of money like making it. We also have like a miniature app that we're developing for our pricing calculator. Let me know in the comments if I made a pricing calculator and I put it out there for like $37 per month. So basically, I give you access to the app and you can actually like utilize and have access to it for like $37 a month. Would that actually be helpful for you or not? If it is, write pricing tool inside the comments, and I'll be sure, like, if I ever do decide, if I get enough interest, I'll just do that. If not, no big deal. Now, when it comes to this, there's four stages of objection handling. So price drop, just assume that you have a pricing calculator based on this. If you do, then just say your price 3 times before the call, especially if it's a little bit higher than what you're expecting, and you're not used to like saying that, a price that high. Now, when you actually get to the price drop, you have to say it very confidently. Just say it and just sit there and you don't have to smile. You can sit there and just have a calm face. If you're not used to sitting and like keeping your face calm, put your hand over your mouth or drink a bottle of water. Okay. The reason why the water is so important is because they can't see your face and it causes you to slow down because you can't talk while you're drinking your water. And it causes you not to be like able to over talk. One thing that's going to lose a lot of deals is if you say your price, you just start rationalizing why someone should be able to kind of like talk and why someone just don't rationalize like why someone should like pay the price. Don't rationalize, how you came about and don't rationalize that it's reasonable. Don't say if it's too much for them. Just drink your water and just relax. Just relax. Okay. Business owners that are successful are used to having to spend a lot of money. Okay. And they think about it very logically. They don't have like the same kind of like fear that maybe like you would have if you had to pay someone $20,000, right? It's just another day at the office for them. So just be calm, collected, and relax. Awesome. So cool. So the next thing is going to be the first thing you say your price, you're generally going to get some sort of smoke screen. Now, in a lot of cases, it's not necessarily going to be because they don't want to pay. It's just they're going to like have something like they need to think about it, or they might say like it's expensive, or they might say something like, "Oh, I don't know," right? And that's normal. They're just thinking out loud, right? So the first thing you do is you just like sit there and be quiet. After that, you need to say like, okay, so how do you mean by that, right? Because you need them to start explaining like what is the actual thing behind it, right? What do they actually need to think about? Is it a timing objection? Is it really they don't have the cash flow because they just spent all their free cash on something? They have to go and like maybe get a loan. If they're maybe like a newer business owner, like maybe they wanted to pay this using like credit or whatever, but they just like use all their credit reserves. Like, what is the actual thing that's going to cause them to really be the objection that's actually being said, right? So once you understand that, now you can start getting that on the table, and it makes things very easy for you to start countering them. Okay. So next thing is going to be once you have the real objection, we start moving into the objection phase. So inside the objection phase, if you do your sales call correctly, like you'll only get logistical objections. Logisticals can be more about like they have to move money around or like more of like they want to do it and it's very logical why they either can't do it or why they're like pausing at this very second. Now, just because it's logical does not mean it's you can't overcome it, right? We just got to be able to use more of a logic close. So, for example, um, these are pretty easy because you can close with logic. So, for example, you can split up the cleanup into multiple payment if their cash flow does not allow for them to pay $20,000 up front, right? So you can do it into four parts of $5,000. So they pay you $5,000, you do 25%. They pay another $5,000, another 25, another 25, another 25, and you've already collected the full 20 by the time it's done, and you're protecting everyone who's involved. So you're doing their work without worrying about like you doing 100% of the cleanup and then not getting paid. Okay, I'm always trying to get paid up front if I'm doing a cleanup. Like I'm trying to get paid. If you can get 100% paid up front, that's awesome. You can do 80%, 50%, 20%. Like I would minimum do 50% just to protect yourself as much as possible. If I'm being completely honest with you, I would do 50%. Then I would also have like an ACH, and I also have like a written contract, just so you're in full control of the situation, so that you don't have to worry about someone maybe like taking advantage of you, and maybe like you do the work and then they just like they don't pay you, they lock you out of the system. It can get kind of messy if you don't do that. So always get some money up front, just kind of protect yourself. Right. Next, you might get like a sticker shock objection where like they'll just reflexively say things like, "Well, I might as well do it myself. I can do it myself." Right. And it's not necessarily that they want to do it themselves. It's just that they're just having sticker shock. Right. And you can actually use that with like logic. Right. And so what we're gonna do is there's two different ways you can actually speed up the sale without feeling like you're actually pressuring them or bullying them. So inside of my program, I'll give you specific word tracks of what to say to overcome those objections. For this one, I'm going to give you two different like categories of objections that you can utilize. And this is just something that's like more logic. So number one, you can use urgency. Okay. So urgency is more of like timing of the year. So urgency happens to do a time where it's like there are deadlines. There are mutually agreed upon deadlines that they are coming towards that they need to do. For example, they have to go get like a loan, there's a deadline. If they need to go and like um if they're a tax resolution client, they need to have everything cleaned up first. If they maybe have end of the year, maybe at the end of the year, so they want to go and get a bunch of expenses, right? Because they want to just like spend for the cleanup. And if they wait till next year, they can't go and get the same tax advantages. There's a million different things the reasons why, right? You just have to kind of like listen inside the conversation. The best urgency happens when they tell you what they feel is an urgent deadline they're facing, because you can just keep referencing back to that, and now they're gonna be like, "Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, I forgot about that. Oh, we gotta get this thing done." Right? So time of year is a very, very easy one. It's very current for like where we are currently. We're coming up to like a really good kind of like deadline. So, and it's one that everyone kind of recognizes, end of the year. So I would utilize that to my advantage as much as possible. It's almost like getting a stubborn child to like who has to use the bathroom to go. So like when your children start getting 12, 13, they kind of know everything, right? And they become rebels. That's when they don't want to like wear their coats outside. That's when they'll try and argue. They're like, "Oh no, I know this, I know this." It's like, bro. And depending on your household, if you're like a spanking household, or if you're more like a use your voice kind of household, or more of a timeout household, it's one of those things. But depending on how you do it, right? So let's say that you're gonna be more of like a talking using your voice, right? So what I used to do was more talking about like, okay, so it's one time particular. We had to go on this 3 hour long car ride. Okay. And for the 3 hour long car ride, the kid Eric had to go use the bathroom, right? And he's dancing back and forth, and he's like, "Well, I don't really have to go. I don't have to go." I'm like, "Well, we're gonna go on a 3 hour car ride. Okay, here's what's gonna happen. You're gonna say that you don't want to go. You're gonna get in the car. The car motion is gonna make you want to use the bathroom. Seatbelt's right over your bladder. You're gonna have to use the bathroom. And I'm not pulling over. I'm not pulling over. I don't care. So what's gonna happen is 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes in the drive. We're only a third of the way there. You're probably gonna pee your pants, right? And to kind of show you that I told you so, I'm gonna make you kind of like sitting there. You might get a little bit of a underwear rash. I don't know. I don't tell you. We can bring some paper towel. You can sit on a towel, but that's gonna happen. So it's either like if you want, you could continue to wait, but you're gonna have an accident, and you're gonna have to like live with the consequences of your accident. Or you can just use a bathroom which is like 3 feet away, and then we don't have an accident. Everything's cool, and just keep enjoying your day and keep enjoying your life. I guess like which one do you want to do? Right? Which one do you think you did? Right? Because it makes sense. The same thing with the business owners, right? In this particular example, the student actually used the logic close. The person like, well, I might as well do it myself, It's gonna be over $20,000. I'm not gonna do it. So she basically gave him like $1,000 discount. We said, well, you're not gonna do it because like if you already gonna do it, you're gonna do it by now. But since you haven't, you probably won't. Okay. So, I mean, does it make sense for us to get this done now so you can hit this deadline that we were talking about? Or do you want to kind of risk not being able to do this? And then the person's like, okay, let's do it. Another thing you can use is going to be scarcity, right? So let's say you only have like X slots. So with scarcity, I would use your limited capacity to your advantage. Most people want to kind of appear bigger than what they are. Like, oh, I can take on as much work. I have like a team underneath me. I have an office. I have X. That's cool when you're at that stage. But if you're not that stage, use where you are to your advantage, right? Let's say that you have like a cleanup, for example. You probably only can do, depending on like your workload, you probably dedicate probably about 10, 20 hours a week to multiple cleanup projects, 20 hours a week, I'll say, right? If you're still working your job, if you have kids, right? So you could probably only take on like 1 to 3 cleanups at a time. So tell the business owner that. Okay, so I have 2 other cleanups right now. You're gonna be the third, and I can only handle 3, right? And I'm getting a number of like calls right now because my partners are delivering clients to me, and I'm getting a lot of leads calling me on the phone. I want to be able to help you out, but again, like if you go and wait, like there is a possibility that I'm not going to be able to actually work with you until after XYZ deadline, right? So now that's 2 things. So there's a deadline, and you're not going to be there. Now, if you've done your consultation call correctly, they're going to assume that you're the right person for the job, and they're going to really want to work with you. Okay, so by doing this takeaway now, it absolutely makes sense. Now, of course, if they don't want to work with you and they're kind of on the fence, that scarcity is not really the best option. Like, so you have to really be skilled if you're going to use scarcity, but it is something that you can use and is like really good. Another thing is same thing. Like if you only have X number of like slots for maybe your tax planning or yeah your tax advisory kind of services, right? Utilize that. It's truthful. It's truthful. If there's a capacity, use the capacity. Okay. Next to negotiation, that's pretty simple. Negotiation does not have to mean that you are lowering your price. It could be like we kind of talked about splitting up the cleanup. It could be you get a percentage up front. It could be that you do part of the cleanup now, then you come back at the end. It can be a million different things you can do. You can even do like skip the cleanup, just do the monthly work, and start from where you are right now, and then just kind of go. Depending if their books are okay. If their books are like terribly trashed and they just have nothing, it's like that can be kind of hard. So it just depends, but be creative when it comes to this. It doesn't have to be you just discounting your price. Next thing can also be the close. Okay, so I like doing proposal when I'm on the call. I like doing cash, credit, or whatever, right? I like collecting the income, and then I give them the contract, the official contract, right? So proposal basically just lets them know exactly what you're doing. It can also be an engagement letter. You get the cash before you start doing any kind of work, okay? You get the cash, protect yourself, and it increases the urgency of them following the stuff you need to do. Then you give them the contract because now they have a little bit more urgency to do the contract because you can't get started until the contract is signed, but you already have their money, right? So now they're like, okay, well, I want to get this stuff done, so I'm just going to sign the contract as quickly as I possibly can, and just really, 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 really easy. Okay, so cool, cool. So hopefully you learned something new inside of this call. I'm going to keep this video a little bit shorter. Generally, when the video gets to about like 25 minutes, Facebook shows it to less people. So I want to keep it as like, as visible and viewable as many people as possible. So if you want some help growing your business and maybe been trying to do it for a little while, but it's just not quite going the way that you're thinking it should, or maybe you're thinking about getting started, but you just don't know where to start because there's just a million different ways that you can go ahead and click on the link inside the description, either above or below the video. Book a call with myself or a member of my team to see if I can help you inside of our paid training program. Okay, we can't help everybody. Like we just number one don't have that much capacity. We only accept about 10 to 12 people maximum per month into our programs. The reason why is because I just want to make sure that I can actually impact you as deeply as I possibly can. And if I have like a million people that we're working with, it just doesn't work the same way. Okay, so I want to keep personalized. I want to keep the success rate very high. I want to make sure we can give you like some pretty impactful results. So if you want to see if you're a good fit for the program, go ahead and click the link inside the description above or below the video. Book a call. Let's see if we can help you out. Okay, take it easy. Talk to you soon. Have a great rest of your day.